Oh, and there's also track plates in this book.
Yeah,
Which is
looks awesome.
okay. So, Old World rats. So that's this guy and this guy here. This is our Norway rat, and this is our black rat. And things to look at. Versus, here's a wood rat, just for comparison. And actually, there was a couple, I wish we'd had a cleaner trail because there was a couple features in here that were leaning towards black rats. Because black rats are basically a blend of wood rats and Norway rats. They have very robust, thick, beefy heel pads, really round, robust toes, short toes. We'll just leave it at that for now. So take a look at this. In our Norway rat, they tend to have more fingery, slim toes that are considerably longer than our wood rats. Okay, we can really see that again here on the hind foot. The other thing is that there is a considerable size discrepancy between the front and the hind in your Norway rats. A little bit different, a little more wood rat-like in our black rats. The other thing we can look at too, aside from the length of the toes and the actual nature and thickness of the toes, is the way the toes face. And this is going to get fixed in the new book, but very often the posterior heel pads don't even show up in your Norway rats or even much in your black rats. And so they tend to just have a kind of an appearance that, sorry, I'm drawing all over your book there, Nick.
As long as you sign it, it's okay.
Yeah. The other thing to think about too is take a look at these two side toes on both the front and the hind. They are very forward facing, okay? As opposed to sticking more out to the sides in your Old World rats, okay? And in fact, sometimes it will look like the side toes themselves are behind the leading pad. Can everybody see that? So set behind the leading pad, whereas they tend to be ahead of it, at least on one side in your wood rats, okay? Black rats are the same in that Old World style. So these are all things that you're looking for. There are a lot of places where there's black rats and wood rats, and so we're always working our best to differentiate between them. For the most part, it works out pretty well. This one was kind of tricky just because we didn't have a whole lot to look at.
Don't mess it up.
I won't mess it up.
Okay.
But this one, you know, the toes kind of appear to be sticking out a little bit to the sides. The other thing is, too, is that, and this may change, but I sort of doubt it. What they have seen mostly, they did a whole bunch of study in California around it, and black rats are far more associated with rural areas and wooded areas. Norway rats, obviously, much more associated with urban areas. So in places like this, if there were an Old World rat, you would expect black rats. It was pretty cool. I've been out to Taiwan a couple times for wildlife tracking stuff, and in these insane cool mountains out there, and there are native black rats running around. And I've spent so many times, I've seen thousands of black rats out across North America, and it was cool to see them in their home environment and be like, whoa. They're like, it was like the gray fox of rats in their place. It's kind of cool.
Hey, Casey, can you address the trough?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why there's a trough there?
We can't address the trough. We've been trying to figure that trough out. So I can tell you what I think about it.
I think he's fat. He's got a big old gut. He's fat.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear ideas about it.
Okay.
So back there, there's actually some troughs that are a little bit wider, and you can see hair in them. And it looks just like belly marking of squirrels, okay? You see it a lot in ground squirrels. I don't know how much I've seen it in our gray squirrels, if ever, so this has been kind of weird. I'm not exactly sure. And then this one was even narrower. We considered, could this be a wood rat doing something strange?
Yeah, it could.
It's very lofty.
Wood rats have 4 mammy, and they're right there. They're inguinal, and so they have up to 4 babies. And there's a known behavior where the babies will just hang on, and the mothers will go out and forage, and the babies are hanging on to them when they do that. So
if that's what that is, that's the coolest.
That's a good story.
That's a great story.
I mean, you can find pictures of them doing that.
That would be something else. I mean, it's as
I'd love it if that was what it
It's-
was.
yeah,
You know,
it's
it's
as
just the right size and everything.
good
I'd
an
say probably,
explanation as
one baby, not
anything.
a whole bunch, but.
I mean, that would be very cool. It
It
certainly.
would have to be just one because it's
Yeah.
the trough, the,
Yeah.
Right,
the
right.
appearance would.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. That would be awesome.
But that would cover up the rear tracks as well.
Maybe. I mean, in some places it would, but if she's got them out the side and the baby's dragging right, sort of more or less under her tail.
Yeah, and it could be that she,